What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Scale News Update. This is the airport edition. On my way back from Denver from the We Are CRX Nationals, and I've got a delayed flight, so still trying to get this out tonight. But enough of the show, so we talk about the news updates that happened in the scale world of RC over the past week. If you enjoy the show, hit the like button. Let's jump into this week's topics. First for this week, We Are CRX Nationals. It was this weekend. It was a fantastic event. Matt and I went out to the event, competed in it. 2 days full of awesome, just the best comping. We had great courses, slow technical, awesome builds. It was absolutely worth all of the effort put into it. Can't wait to go back next year. But if you guys are waiting for coverage on that, Matt and I will both have videos on that with our finals Jimmy update, as well as, you know, Matt has his Pro Mod rig as well. But look forward to that. Hopefully I have that video out this week or so. And following that, I'll also have more information on the build along files that'll be available to the general public. Next, after that, Vanquish Products released the 2.2 version of the Riot beadlocks. Now, those are the newest 2.2 style, but they are different than the current 2.2s, as they're a 0.8 inch wide version versus the 1.2 inch wide that the current tanks are offered in. Those were released in black and clear initially, and then the other colors will follow. I believe that red has already gone up, and again, the other colors that are typically in the full line of those wheels will get released here shortly as well. So watch out for those, and I'll put links to the current wheel selections down in the description below, as well as links to the rest of the stories we talked about today. Next, the H10 optic from Vanquish, that is being restocked. As of the time this video goes up, you should see those back in stock and shipping. So if you had a back order from Vanquish, you'll get shipping on those first, and then new orders will follow just as soon as all the back orders are completed. So check that out. If you want to get one of those, you can get shipping directly from Vanquish here ASAP. Next, Night Customs put up another teaser of his animated shift or interior style for the H10 optic, and in his latest version he's got a driver and co-driver. Matt's head is on the driver one and not Josh is on the passenger, but I've talked to James and I'll try and get a 3D scan done and get that sent over to him. That thing's going to be great. That'll be hosted on his My Mini factory, where you can go buy the files, print it, and assemble it yourself. Of course, detailing and everything will have to go along with that, but in case you're interested in doing that, make sure to check it out. Next, RC 4-Wheel Drive released some new 2.6 inch wheels. These are just the Centurion forged wheels. I don't think that they're actually forged. I think it's a version of a full-size wheel that may be forged, and this is just named like it. So 2.6, obviously a little bit different size, not super common. You see it on a couple of larger scale things, but RC 4-Wheel Drive does have some 2.6 inch tires. Specifically, they're like mud style tires. So if you're interested in that combo, or if you run, no problem, or if you run the 2.6 on a different vehicle, then this may be an option for you, so you can check those out. Also new from RC 4-Wheel Drive this week, they released a steel roll bar that you can use on the Mojave 2 or the Xtracab. It looks pretty decent. It is actual steel. You got welded on tabs on the top, so you can put some lights on the top. Actually looks pretty decent overall. I did notice in the specs of this thing that this thing weighs 5 ounces. So you are absolutely going to notice a difference in the truck with you put 5 ounces way up tall. But it looks good, and that, you know, the tabs are welded on. It's actually chromed. Pretty cool little option for that, in case you're looking to add some scale and period correct-ish styling to those vehicles. And next, a new sponsor for this Scale News update is RCMap.io. Now, RCMap.io is a mapping, either an application you can get for your iPhone, or you can go onto their website as well. But the purpose of this is that it aggregates just user-created locations where you can go to run your RC. Trails, you know, parks, anywhere where you think you may run, you can go add that spot. Like I said, it's user created. Now it is curated to make sure, you know, monitored by moderators to make sure that spots are not duplicates and things like that. But it's super helpful. And when you create a profile and create spots yourself, you can also tag like a YouTube video in it. I've already joined up and started adding some of the spots that I typically go, and I'll add a lot more as well. It'll give me an easy way to share the spots that I like to go to with others in just a super easy way. It's a completely free site. It's free to register. They're also super privacy sensitive, so registering, your data is not going to get shared, anything like that, which is good to know. This is driven by an enthusiast as well. Somebody in the community who saw a need, had the ability, and created this. Also, currently, they are running a giveaway for an Axial CJ7. Now, in the description below, I'll link to RCMaps.io, where you can go check it out on your web browser or go download the iOS app. And I'll also link to where you can go find all of the details specifically on the giveaway for that Axial CJ. There are additional entries available for when you add spots. So I'll put that link below. You can go check out all of the details. The giveaway is only for people in the US and Canada. But that doesn't limit the actual spots that are marked to just the US and Canada. You'll find those all over the world. So go check it out. It's easy to use. You don't have to register to actually see everything. Maybe there's some spots in your area that you weren't aware of, or maybe you want to help share some of that information with the community. Go check them out. Again, thanks to RCMaps.io for sponsoring this month of the Scale News Update. Next, Biddy Designs is teasing a 1/7 scale, not a Porsche body for the ARMA platform. Possibly or probably the felony, maybe the infraction, but either way, if it is for the felony, that uses the larger and wider rear tires versus if it is for the felony, that means it uses the larger, wider rear tires versus the front, which would seem appropriate. So even if they do that, I guess I'll have to get one, because a 911 on that platform, pretty much my ultimate on-road RC. Super pumped to see what they've got. I'm sure we'll circle back and cover that here soon. And directly following that Porsche, we have an actually licensed Porsche from Tamiya. They're putting the 911 RSR on the BT01 chassis. That's a new chassis that they released here recently. They're putting a Supra body on it first, but this Porsche is going to follow it here later in the year. So I believe that they've done this body before, but now we're going to see it on this new platform. And speaking of Tamiya, Exotech has got a 7075 billet machined case available for the BBX on the BB01 chassis. That's that new, totally new platform that Tamiya released later last year, I believe. And it's just a great platform. Came with bearings and hex hardware. Unheard of, but that was a great build. This has just looked like a nice upgrade for that platform. So you can go check out Exotech. We've covered them in the past, a lot of drag racing stuff, and they do mainly other products, but something I still check on, and it was cool to see. Hobby Tech released the CRX2 Survival. Now, we covered the original CRX Survival quite some time ago, but this is a new version, and they've got, you know, a handful of new specs, or, you know, new features integrated into it. It does now show an adjustable wheelbase. It's a little different than we've seen adjustable wheelbases in the past. It still means you have to change the links to adjust the wheelbase, so it still doesn't feel like that adjustable. But now the outer parts of the chassis can be relocated to extend to move the shock towers, and that's what they're calling the adjustable wheelbase. It does have new axles, front and rear. They're not overly scale styled. They still use like a lockout and a slide-on C-hub versus something that's a little bit more scale. It does have counter rotation transmission. Some people like that. The body is very similar to the original CRX Survival, but now it's got like an SUV style or full top. Doesn't look bad. It's kind of got an old Jeep Willys style to it. We've seen things from CRX, or we've seen things from Hobbytech in the past. I believe that they're based out of France. Not something that's commonly seen here in the US, but maybe something more that you guys see in Europe. So if that's one of your brands that you like to follow, make sure you check that out. Last week I saw for the first time, maybe it's not that new, but I haven't seen it before, from Radiomaster, the MT12 gyro module. Now, we've talked about the MT12 many times in the past. It's a radio that I'm super fond of. I like it a lot. It's very difficult to use though, but it is amazingly customizable. And this new gyro module goes down on the bottom part of the transmitter, and it allows you to control 2 channels with gyro type action. So if you want to control, steering, rear steer, throttle, if you want to go wild with it, you have that ability, which seems kind of interesting, and it's only $10. Super cheap. I've ordered one. It was $9.99 and $5 shipping, so I had to pick one up. I'll figure out something to do with it because it seems too fun not to try. But if you're an MT12 user, maybe think about checking that out. Maybe you have some sort of wild ID. Next, there's a bill that's been proposed and currently going through the Senate, and it is effectively an anti-China or CCP controlled DJI bill. DJI, the drone manufacturer that you've all seen for many years, I'm sure. They are a Chinese-based brand, and as part of that, this bill is being proposed because of possible security concerns that they have for their tech, the amount of information that's sent back and forth. This would be something that you could draw parallel to the TikTok ban. It would be along those lines. Now, it has only just been proposed. It hasn't made it through any of the following steps yet. I have read through the text. It's somewhat boring. There's also a really good summary on it on the AP News site. So I'll link to both the full text in case you want to get deep into exactly what is being proposed, or if you want to just read the Cliff Notes version on the AP News. But effectively what it would do is, if it makes it through all of the steps, gets House, Senate, and the President signs it, and it could put this ban into place, what you could see is basically a phasing out of the ability to use new or existing DJI drones in the US. Now, that would likely have some sort of timeline, 1, 2, 3 years before they were basically deemed non-functional, but it could affect a lot of people who own DJI drones, including myself. So if you want a lot more information on it, read a little bit more, I'll put those 2 links below. You can go check that out. It's interesting reading. But if reading legal filings wasn't painful enough, maybe check out this new low platform trailer from Orlando, 1/32 scale. If you've ever worked on any of these products, you'll know that it only causes you pain. So here, this will be a good substitute to reading those legal proceedings. For those of you that have heard of My Mini Factory, you'll probably start hearing of a new site called Umagine. And basically what this is going to be is like a My Mini Factory, but only for RC, but also run by basically the same people as My Mini Factory. So they're just like trying to bifurcate their website to try and figure out, or to really focus on that. But I think that My Mini Factory is still going to stay as is also. But it seems that our market, the RC market, is one of the larger areas of this, and that people have really grasped onto, which is kind of cool on our side. Obviously, I'm a big fan of 3D printing and RC, so I can see how that, to me, it makes total sense. But I'm surprised that a platform like that has decided that it is enough of a draw to make an entirely new platform just for it. But watch for more on that. I think that Night Customs is going to adopt that as well, but as far as how exactly that will work with both platforms and everything combined, it'll be interesting to see. I haven't dug too far into it yet, but something that I'll continue to follow and see exactly how it's implemented and how it grows for the future. A brand that we don't often talk about, but TWS has released a TWS CTS VTR V2 now. They had the VTR first. This was their first kit, and now they have a V2. And there's a number of differences between the previous version and this one. Basically, the axle gears have gone from CNC to powder metal, but the gears inside of the transmission planetary set have gone from plastic to powder metal. And interesting, the front and rear axles are now pre-assembled, same as the gearbox and the transfer case. And then it also includes fenders, where previously it didn't include fender flares. But that's really the biggest differences to them. And if you're interested in that kit, maybe that interests you. But I wanted to roll right into this week's question. So what I wanted to ask is, this is a kit. It's shown as a kit, but a number of the things are pre-assembled. And I've ran into that with other kits that I've built in the past, specifically from like Cross RC. But if you're a kit builder, is that something that you're interested in? Do you want to see certain parts of it that maybe looked at as tedious or not as fun, just to be pre-assembled for you? Maybe shocks, for example. Or do you just want to build a kit like you normally would? Every part is its own step, and every single step and build of a car. It seems like the traditional approach that maybe I would prefer myself, but maybe this is a way that people really enjoy. So that's what I wanted to do. Again, apologize for the production quality of this week's episode, but live from Denver, as always. Thanks for watching Scale News Update. Drop your comment below. I'd like to know what you guys think of that kit. Thanks again for watching. See you on the next one.